Welcome to Pegwarmers. I'm Kevin, and I'm here to talk about toys. Today's episode, we're featuring a toy show called Toys for the Ages. This is a show held out in Carlisle, PA. It's at the Expo Center there. So this is a show that's larger than New Jersey Collectors Convention or the Toy Dome. So it's bigger than a ballroom, bigger than a firehouse hall, but not as big as like Retrocon. All right, so this is a sort of medium-sized room. I would say this is bigger than Ranger Station, where I've ended at. A pretty nice-sized toy show. I don't really consider it a convention because there isn't really anything extra to do. There aren't panels. There aren't really guests. It's basically just, the toy show. There is one YouTuber that does a lot of Jurassic Park and dinosaur custom stuff. So maybe you could consider him a guest. I guess they have a raffle. So it's walking that line, but it doesn't have kind of the ambiance of a convention quite the way some shows do. I consider Toys for the Ages a toy show. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I traveled out there with my buddies Nick, Rose, and Tony. It was a fun time getting together, hang out with them, get to drive out to the show. Traveling to toy shows with friends is always the best. I love the community of toy collectors that I've built in, real life with friends that I see and meet at shows, as well as like my online community. I have a Patreon for Pegwarmers, and there is a Discord for one of the tiers on that, and that group of guys has been also a really cool community that we're building of people talking about toys and sharing pictures and stuff. But when you can really spend the whole day with your crew, it's awesome. We met up with Mike Bro, who some of you guys know from being on this show several times. He was looking for some strawberry shortcake stuff for his wife. We also met up with Trick Treat, who is definitely a member of the toy collecting family that I've built, but not somebody I see as typically at shows. He's kind of a couple times a year where I bump into Trick Treat. One of the things that really blew me away when I first got to this show was some Rainbow Bright stuff. I don't know if you guys know this, but I loved the Rainbow Bright cartoon as a kid and had some of the plush characters from the show. The bad guys, Murky and Lurky, I thought were fantastic. And so they had some sprites, and they had Starlight the horse, and they also had these like kid-sized tin appliances, a stove and a refrigerator with beautiful Rainbow Bright artwork on it. They were really cool. Obviously not something I'm adding to my collection. It's not something I'm hunting for, all kinds of relics from Rainbow Bright. I do have a few choice pieces, but I always enjoy when I see Rainbow Bright stuff. These Transformers birthday supplies sparked a memory in me. I remember having these as a kid. I remember getting the matching like Mylar balloon and having that at my house for a while because those balloons always held the air for a long time. It's cool to see those party supplies. I have a lot of G.I. Joe ones in my collection, but it was neat to see this pack. Looking around at random stuff, and I saw this Play-Doh mold. This must be from an Empire Strikes Back Play-Doh set because it looks like the Hoth Trooper Stormtroopers there, and an R2-D2 in that Play-Doh mold. My first purchase of the day. I don't know if you guys have seen my Land of the Lost episode. I did it with Jordan from Geek Anything, and we looked through my collection of Land of the Lost toys. I had a lot of carded stuff. I had some loose stuff. I have some play sets that I've gone back and forth on if I should open them or not. But the big thing I'm missing is Scarface, the T-Rex from that line, who is not very scary. He's actually kind of dopey, and I found him. Just sitting on a table, looking all dopey. Here's his scar eye, here's his regular eye. I think the worst thing about this toy is the gap between his teeth being filled in with just solid plastic. He just doesn't seem menacing at all. They told me he's tested and works. I have not put batteries in him. I do want to try him out. His eyes should glow. So we'll have to check that out. But I was really excited to get this guy. He's also not really all that big compared to a Land of Lost action figure. So it's pretty funny. Not like 5 minutes after I bought him, though, we turn around and there are a bunch of the Land Before Time hand puppets. And my buddy Nick thinks The Sharptooth one there is the dinosaur I just bought. I was like, no, 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 no. Actually, I think the Sharptooth hand puppet from Pizza Hut or wherever those came from is a scarier T-Rex toy. The Ghostbuster 3D puzzle. I had never seen this before. I asked if I could take some footage of it because I really wanted to show this off. I love how you build this like haunted house out of it and you move around throughout. There's like slime on some of the spots. I don't know how you play it, but this game looked fantastic. There were a ton of Masters of the Universe playsets there. I saw a boxed Snake Mountain, a boxed Grayskull, and then later on I saw a loose Snake Mountain, loose Grayskull, loose Crystal Castle. I mean, Motu was kind of all over this con. Here's a Star Wars question for you. The Battle of Kashyyyk. Which stormtroopers or clone troopers were there? What does this set represent? It's got original trilogy stormtroopers up against the Episode 2 Wookiees. I don't get it. This display case had a really nice array of different action figures. And then I found a boxed Pee-wee's Playhouse. Love this playset. I have a mostly complete one. Maybe totally complete. It's probably missing something that I already own. So I didn't buy this, but I loved looking at the artwork. And this was actually filmed before Paul Rubens passed away. Toys for the Ages was, maybe a month ago. Spotted some Dune toys. Those reminded me of the Dune episode of Pegwarmers. I don't know if you guys have seen that episode. It's a little bit of an older episode at this point. We're actually on episode 99. The next episode will be episode 100. It's going to be another episode featuring Tony from Hack the Movies. But the Dune episode is from the early, the first year of episodes where we were in the studio recording all the time with guests for every single episode. The Dune episode is very cool. Spotted Montgomery Moose in some plush. Do you guys know the Get Along Gang? I really liked those guys as a kid. This was a pretty cool Power Rangers in Space Megazord. Saw a bunch of other loose Power Ranger toys. Love those glittery movie Rangers. So I am trying not to buy Funko Pops anymore. I'm really trying hard to cut back. I don't want to dedicate more space to them. I've actually downsized my Pop collection. I do still have, some fun oddball ones. I do still have a G.I. Joe Pop shelf. I do have a He-Man Pop shelf. I have a Power Ranger Pop shelf. And I saw this Serpentor, who I don't have, and I really kind of want him, but I did resist. Saw some really cool, funky vinyl monsters at this convention. Love that Smog Monster. I saw these two Ninja Turtles toy boxes while we were actually sitting in. There's a little corner where you can buy food and kind of hang out. And the bottom box I'm very familiar with. I had friends that had that one as a kid. But the top box, which is in worse shape here, had some interesting artwork that I'm not real familiar with. My friend Rose bought some Sweet Secrets. You guys remember those? Anybody have a sister that had those as a kid? I thought they were kind of cool, but they were totally Transformers for girls. Not cool in the sense that I wanted to own them, but cool that they, folded up into a gem.
Get in, babe!
Buddy Nick is collecting Mask. So, while we were sitting off to the side, he was pulling out some of his haul and playing around with Rose's Sweet Secrets. And, we also got to see, Rose spill some pieces of her Get Along Gang puzzle.
Yeah, I'll have to put her in something where she'll stay together. She's kind of cool looking.
I just use spittle. It stays together.
Spittle.
I'm here shopping around, not for myself. Oh my god!
I just dropped a puzzle.
She dropped Dottie.
The piece behind you is.
Told her she was going to lose the pieces, and she played with the toys.
I expect you have a women
You
here.
know, there are 5
Hey,
girls
Rose,
that can
there's a
hold
piece
their
on the
toys
floor.
better than you.
Right behind you,
There are 5 girls that can hold those toys better. I would like you to notice my stuff is still in the bag that I have bought. So yes, it is all still here.
There was a vendor that had a really great array of lunchboxes. I don't know if you guys collect, branded lunchboxes. I actually have a whole bunch behind me here. I don't know if you see them often. I have a G.I. Joe on this shelf. I have some Star Wars ones down below, and a bunch of other brands sitting around here. Nothing I picked up that day, but I do have some good finds that I want to show off besides my Land of the Lost Dinosaur. So there were two toy lines that I was kind of thinking about before I went to this show. One, I was collecting movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys because we were getting ready to do the episode of Hack the Movies about the worst Ninja Turtle movies. If you guys didn't see that episode, you should check it out. But while I was there, I found two TMNT Turtles. And I don't have a lot of toys from that movie to represent the line. I actually found one recently at the Toy Dome. I found the bad guy, and then I picked up Michelangelo and Leonardo for good prices at Toys for the Ages. I've also been doing a lot of unpacking of my collection down here in the basement, still trying to get stuff set up. And I had just recently unpacked my vintage Thundercats, and I was looking at my vintage Lion-O, and he's sort of the orange hair variant. His legs were a little sticky, and I noticed there's like a chip in his shoulder. I don't know if it broke in the move or if it had been chipped before, but I just kind of decided I needed a new vintage Lion-O, and I found one for a good price. I'd actually seen this Lion-O at Toy Dome, and it didn't sell, and so I went back and, you know, talked to the vendor. He didn't have the thing that makes it light up. I haven't tested that out. I already have that. But he had the Sword of Omens. He has his Claw Shield. He has Snarf. So this guy is going to replace the one that's in my collection. I think mine is the orange hair variant, but with the chipped shoulder and the sticky legs, you know, the plastic's like breaking down on him. I wanted to get a really good upgrade. Other things that I noticed while setting up my collection is I don't have the PVC of Wily Cat, right? Wily Kit is the boy, Wily Cat is the girl. I hope I'm saying this right. The pack-in from Chitara, and I found her at the show. A vendor that was selling some mask stuff had her, and she was priced a little higher than I wanted to pay, so I asked my buddy Nick to see if he could get her in a bundle. I told him what I was willing to pay, so he got her for a few bucks cheaper for me, which worked out perfect. And when I bought Lion-O, I actually bundled him with the articulated companion versions of Wily Kit and Wily Cat, who I did not have in my collection. They came with their hoverboards, and I'm pretty excited to have them. I'm really rounding out my vintage Thundercat collection pretty nicely. I don't have everything. I don't have some of the super rare stuff, but I have a nice chunk of that collection. I really need to get a good Linkso at some point. So overall, I had a great time at Toys for the Ages, going there with my friends, walking around, checking things out. Rose even bought a Curtis doll from the Barbie toy line, but she thought his name was Brad, and that just became this inside joke for a while with us. She told us his name was Brad, and then she realized it was Curtis when she started looking stuff up online, because she was trying to figure out what his action feature was. He does like a tennis racket swing, but it seemed to be jammed. And so that just became this joke about, is he Brad? Is he Curtis? Curtis? Brad? Throughout the day. Just, you know, the fun stuff you have, those inside jokes you have with your friends. Really enjoyed that show. I'm sure we'll be back, because I always kind of find some good stuff. There were some figures from Warriors of Virtue. Do you guys remember that movie? They're like kangaroo ninjas. And I thought about buying them because it would have been a decent episode to do with Tony from Hack the Movies at some point. And they were just a little bit more than I wanted to pay. It wasn't a complete set. It was almost a complete set. And at the end of the show, I just didn't go back and try to, like, nickel and dime the guy down. But I should have, because maybe he would have taken less. I know they didn't sell, because who wants Warriors of Virtue figures? As for new to the collection, I just got the Diabolical Snake Invasion set. This has some beautiful artwork on the front of the package. Beautiful artwork on the back, too, of the guys teaming up, catching up on He-Man, sneaking up on He-Man. And on the inside, you get 3 Snake Men characters and He-Man. It's hard to get that all on camera, but you get He-Man in his snake armor from the 2000X cartoon, and you get sort of some army builder guys, Gorgon and Naga, and then the new squad leader, Rattlehood. This is a pretty cool set. I haven't taken out the package. I do plan to at some point. Pixel Dan did a video on these guys recently that I checked out, so I did get to see what these guys were like out of the package. I've been conflicted. There were so many things released. I didn't know what all to snap up. But this was one of the things that I did order. And I think it's pretty cool. This is an army builder that I kind of like. They work for me. The other item that I have here for new to the collection is a Super 7 toy that I just think is pretty cool. It's from the Ultimate Shogun Warriors collection. And this is Shogun Warrior Godzilla in the Ultimate size. So you may remember they did a small Godzilla in a 3 3/4 inch scale that looked just like the big Mattel Godzilla from back in the day, the rocket fire fist kind of thing. They did a miniature version of his packaging. The Ultimates one has packaging inspired by the original one, including the artwork on the back and things like that. The figure inside, obviously, is, Super 7 collector scale, Ultimate scale. But really nice detail, really great recreation of that original figure. I don't have the original figure. I probably will never have the original figure. I felt like this was kind of a fun size where he can be easily displayed. He kind of fits in with a lot of the, vinyl Godzilla size figures that I have, like Bandai vinyl or the old Imperial monsters and things like that. Some Ultraman stuff I have. So anyway, I thought this was really cool. I had to pre-order him, and he just arrived recently, so I do really enjoy this figure, and I got to get him out of the package and check him out. So this weekend, I am going to be at Retrocon, my favorite con of the year. It's always a huge bash. The Cybertronic Spree is going to be there. Stan Bush is going to play with them. The Transformers band, doing songs from Transformers the movie. It should be a blast. I'm expecting to hang out with my buddy Chris from Long Toys. I got a hotel room with my buddy Nick and a bunch of other people. I'm sure will be hanging out with us there. Mike Bro will be there. Rose and Tony, Trick Treat, who I mentioned this episode. Tons of people from this local area and a little further out. Retrocon is really becoming a destination toy show and convention, and I'm really looking forward to it. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, consider subscribing, share this with a toy collecting friend. If you want to support the show further, consider signing up for the Patreon. And once again, thanks for hanging on the peg with me.